What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scotian Canadian studio. Long time no see. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications if you so please. Now, I'm a little late to the party here, but nevertheless, here we are. A couple weeks ago, the Montreal Canadiens acquired the free agent rights to defenseman Joel Edmundson for a 2020 fifth-round pick from the Carolina Hurricanes. This was a slick move, I think, on Marc Bergevin's part. He was the first GM so far to utilize trading a late pick for the free agent rights to a player because in the new CBA, you may know this, you may not, but they've taken away the negotiating window that took place before free agency opened. So in the past, teams could talk to free agents before free agency actually opened. Now, you cannot talk to a free agent until every other team can. So I think this was a smart move by Bergevin, going out and identifying the player that he wanted, getting the rights, and then signing him to term as quickly as possible. And we saw him do that. I don't think he would have made this trade if he figured he'd have difficulty signing Joel Edmundson. So he locked him up to a 4-year deal worth $3.5 million per season. Very similar contract to the one that Ben Chiarot got last summer. Just a year longer, and they are very similar players, Ben Chiarot and Joel Edmundson. Joel, 27 years old. He's entering the prime of his career as a defenseman. Last season, 7 goals, 13 assists for 20 points in 68 games, and that was a career year for him in Carolina, so not a surprise with a guy entering his prime of his NHL career. But of course, then we see the advanced analytics crowd come in and start talking about how he's one of the worst defensemen in the league, and he's zone exit this and blah, 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 that, and XGF percentage and X Corsi, whatever. It's a bunch of jargon bullshit, if you ask me. They said the same things about Weber and Chiarot, and look how it turned out. Joel Edmundson, 6'4", 215 pounds. He's typically a shut-down defenseman, but he's a good puck mover as well, and he makes good decisions with the puck down in his own zone. Now, when I first saw this deal, I thought to myself, do we really need another Ben Chiarot on our decor? Yet another huge body. And I think there is an argument to be made there as to why maybe we don't. But first thing I'll say is next season is going to be an absolute grind. It's going to be a shortened season. It's going to start late. There's going to be a ton of back-to-backs. Defensive depth is going to be very important. And not just depth in terms of 5, 6, 7 defensemen. You're going to need an extra top 4 or 2 to slot in if somebody goes out like Ben Chiarot or like Weber or Petrie. God, like, knock on wood. Let's hope that does not happen. But you never know in a shortened season like that. Now, the second thing I will say, and this is a bit of a different perspective, Ben Chiarot had a fantastic return to play. I think we saw a lot of great hockey from him, and not just in terms of his shutdown ability. He played good defense, but he also was good offensively, getting pucks towards the net in the offensive zone. So it's good to see from him. Maybe the Habs saw something from him in terms of they want to maybe loosen his leash up a little bit or give him more of an offensive role moving forward. This is just an idea that I have, but if you get Joel Edmundson, he now can slot in on your penalty kill number 1, where Ben Chiarot would have been, and take away some of those defensive minutes from Ben Chiarot, leaving some open minutes for him in terms of getting his offensive game going. Maybe they give him a look on the power play. Maybe they just give him some extra 5-on-5 time. Maybe some more O-zone starts where Ben Chiarot doesn't have to constantly be starting in the D-zone, and Joel Edmundson can take that role. That's my idea of it. And the other thing, too, is when we saw Joel Edmundson get acquired and get signed, there was this immediate push by a lot of Habs fans to just get rid of another defenseman. And I don't think that's necessary either. What I've just said about Ben Chiarot maybe getting to play a slightly more of an offensive role paired with Shea Weber, I think the same works for Victor Mete, who's played a lot of power play time. And I think having Joel Edmundson to take away some of that role from Mete as well leaves an opening for him to be used on the power play more often. And if you really look at our decor in terms of offensive defensemen or specifically puck-moving defensemen, all we really have right now is Jeff Petrie and Victor Mete. Jeff Petrie is an absolute beast on the ice in every aspect. We know this. Now, Victor Mete is young. His defensive game is pretty good. The odd time he makes a rookie mistake here and there. But I think his offensive game is coming around slowly, and that's kind of what happens in terms of the development of a defenseman. We have to remember that he started in the NHL quite early, and I'm sure that was quite difficult for him, and he hasn't been able to really play the type of game that he is capable of up to this point. He's still growing as a young man. He's still gaining experience in the NHL. I think we're going to see a lot of good things from Victor Mete in the coming years. I don't think there's a big push to get rid of a guy like him, and I don't think there should be a big push to get rid of a guy like Kulak either. He played great with Jeff Petrie, and you can always rely on him being a solid D partner for Jeff Petrie. So honestly, the way that the D-corps is lined up right now, I would not be surprised if this is what we go with moving forward. Because if we go left to right all the way down to the bottom, you have Shea Weber, then you have Ben Sherrod on his left, then you have Jeff Petrie, then you have Brett Kulak on his left. Then you have Joel Edmundson on the left on that bottom pair. Now, who takes that spot on the right for the bottom pair is anyone's guess. There's also Romanov waiting in the wings as a left-handed defenseman, but he's coming over from the KHL. I don't think you can be confident in knowing that he's going to be an NHL player and a consistently capable NHL player right out of the gates. Clearly, he's a talented prospect for the Habs, but defensemen take time to develop. So I think that's a good insurance policy, bringing in Joel Edmundson to take that bottom pair. Maybe Romanov spends a short stint with Joel Bouchard in Laval and gets massive minutes down there to start his season. That could happen. Now, in terms of that bottom pair on the right side, that's where I could see Victor Mete slotting in. And then you have Cale Fleury and Noah Juleson, who will also be fighting for spots. Now, the Montreal Canadiens aren't shy to carry 7 or 8 defensemen into the season. So if this is how our defense lines up, I think it's improved after last season, and I'm quite happy with it. Not only with the potential addition of Alexander Romanov, but we got some very reliable defensive depth in Joel Edmundson, and we're also going to see improvements moving forward from Victor Mete and maybe even Brett Kulak as well, who just has 1 year left on his deal anyway. So I love the way the Montreal Canadiens D-corps is shaping up right now. Let me know what you think about that acquisition and signing down in the comments. And of course, make sure to hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter at Scotian Canadian. Look out for the next video, guys. Go Habs, go, baby.